Hey everybody, Ethan here, and you're on my side of the room, sort of. I'm on the patio. I do apologize, I didn't shower and shave today because I was like, I'm not doing any videos, wrong. But I'm going to be disembodied hand guy anyway in just a minute. I hadn't done anything for the channel in a while, and I'm sitting there derping around like, wait a minute, I could put this on the channel, so here we go. So we are all hopped up on NerdForge lately. We said it in another video. We'll say it again now. The thing about NerdForge is that getting into what NerdForge does is like wanting Cliffs of Dover to be the first song you learn on the guitar. Very aspirational, but no, you're not ready for that. So we found another channel, and I'll put it here in the screen pop there and then the link in the description. I don't quite remember the name of the channel. I want to say it's Wycroft's Armory. I hope I'm not getting that wrong. But the channel, the screen will save me. His channel is much more bread and butter and much more accessible. I mean, nothing wrong with NerdForge. It's just that NerdForge does stuff that's way high concept. And this other guy is much better about showing you, like, if you want to do this stuff around the house, you totally could. And you don't need things like a 3D printer and all that to do it. So thanks to Jamie's work, she got the crappiest styrofoam imaginable. It's that kind where the stuff pops off, like when you crack it in half and the pieces go everywhere and you clean it up for months. So I took a pencil and drew brick lines. So I deliberately did this half and half. And I'm just kind of messing around with, like I did, literally had to break the seal on these things. We got massive ADHD, if you don't already know. And we were on this big jag of all this DIY crap we saw on YouTube. And a lot of the DIYers use this Waverly paint from Walmart. So we bought a bunch and literally been cracking the seals today. And we've had this stuff for years. So that kind of tells you everything you need to know. So this is, as I just showed you, the Waverly Elephant, which is kind of a, gray, as you would expect. It's got some stuff kind of mixed in with it. And then I don't have it all out here, but the next thing that you see that's kind of sparkly, if you can see it, is espresso acrylic from either Michael's or Walmart. These are the really cheap $1 a bottle bottles. And then I went back through with another color of Waverly called Pool, and did a couple of bricks as highlight. Then I took a popsicle stick, stuck it in here, and then let it drizzle into some water and used it as my overwash here. And this is dry now, I think, dry enough. That the next thing I was going to do was dry brushing white over this to see how that goes. But meanwhile, we watched another, again, Wycroft's Armory, I want to say. And he was using a soldering gun to make his stone lines. Well, that's cool and everything. Actually, it's hot. This kind of foam is not the fancy crafting foam that people like NerdForge are made of. So they don't really recommend that you use this kind of foam, but I'm also learning. And today I've given myself permission to just be bad. Just whatever it is, it's yes. Because as this channel was saying, this is how you learn. Like, just get in there and make the mistakes. Figure out, like, hey, that doesn't work. Like, this doesn't work for me, having this stuff bleed through the paper towel. So I can get that over here. Told you, massive ADHD. Anyway, I've really gooped on this chalk paint this time after doing the lines. I didn't draw lines this time. I just did it on the two sides. And when you're doing the soldering iron, it's like, man, this is just melting this stuff like nobody's business, and this would be terrible. This is such thick, goopy paint, it's making up for a lot of sins. So already you can see the definition versus purely just doing pencil lines. Nothing wrong with pencil lines, it's just, comparatively speaking, this has way more definition than this does. So Jamie's going to get in the act shortly too. She's much more methodical. She's drawing stuff in her sketchbook of what she wants to do, whereas I'm just diving right in. But this is, so at Disneyland, you can go see the practice wall that they did to test out different faux brick designs. And it's by one of the drinking fountains, kind of by, I don't think it's called Casey Corner, I don't think. It's the area where there's the split light bulb that's red and white. But anyway, it's in that general vicinity of Disneyland. It's been a long time since we've been out there. But anyway, that's what this is. This is my test walls. They're not for anything. This is not for a specific project that I'm working on. This is purely learning. So the next thing I did was, we're sitting around like lamenting how sad our craft supply situation is because I purged a bunch. And I'm like, wait a minute, we live at a place that has recycling dumpsters, stupid. It's also threatening rain, stupid. So I ran down there, and wouldn't you know it, people threw out cardboard today, so it hadn't been affected by the elements. And I actually got double corrugated cardboard, which is fantastic. Because one of the things we want to do this weekend is start building just a rudimentary house. It may be this video, it might not, but I'm just going to kind of get the ball rolling. So this is, again, attempt number 1 without the dry brushing, white over it. And then this is at the bottom rung here, and it's going to take longer for this to dry as it's really gooped on. And I also had to clean up my mess because, like I said, this stuff's bleeding through the paper towel. But this is another thing we had for a project we never ended up doing. I'm like, well, then this is going to be our backer board here. All right, so I'm going to wait for literal paint to dry, and I'll be back later. All right, so Jamie is making barrels.
Don't look at my barrel. It's terrible. It's a terrible bearable. It's unbearable, my terrible bearable. It's awful, but it's going to hold gems, so it'll be redeemed eventually.
Yep.
Look how smart I am. It's too tiny and you can't hold it, so I stuck it on a nail.
I also hope that the mic is picking up Jamie here. I'm wearing the...
Oh, you wear it?
Yeah.
Well, then you talk.
All right, so it's like it was meant to be, Jamie using her nail holder for the barrel.
Well, it's overworked.
So while she is doing that, I've got a granola bar box, and I'm going to do something else with it while I wait on this to dry forever and a day. Again, the humidity probably not helping. All right, so this is a way to do bricks. Another way is to cut bricks out of the foam itself, but
I'm doing that in the other room.
that, what is that, XPS?
Yeah, stuff we don't have yet.
Yeah. So that's the better foam to cut bricks individually. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a test wall, and then I'm going to make bricks out of this, believe it or not. Because it's all about the illusion of bricks, not actual bricks. So as I said at the off, this is quick and dirty. I'm not measuring. I did not use a ruler. I just took some scissors and cut wildly. But this is my test wall because it's sufficient for my needs. And then what I'm going to do is make bricks out of this to start with. I'm just cutting up the box bit by bit. And see how we do. All right, I'm not set up for fancy filming, so that's why you're getting this stuff in bits and pieces here. So I couldn't begin to tell you what the width of this is. Less than my pinky tip, I guess, right? But I just cut some strips. Now, there was some rough edge, so I cut that off because we do want this to be reasonably squared off. And I want it to lay flat. So now for the next trick. Okay, I took one of these, trimmed it up a bit, and got 5 pieces of this out of the deal. So what's going to end up happening is this. Now, compared one to the other, you already know the foam's going to be more texturally interesting and stuff. But depending on what it is that you're trying to accomplish with this might be all you really need. We don't play D&D, so a lot of what people do this stuff for we don't do, but we like the look of it. So we're giving it a whirl here. So I'm going to do some more bricklaying and I'll be back. Okay, so I was doing a linear layout, but then I was like, no, I want more of this staggered brick look. So I've just been trimming pieces to fit and moving things around until it's to my liking. So if I need to cut into more of this box, I will. Meanwhile, Jamie laid in bricks.
I cut little squares out of styrofoam and now hot glued them together into this board. And now I'm doing the bottom black, and then we'll do the gray on top, the dry brushing thing, and see how this looks compared to the bricks that he did. So we know what we like.
Yep.
So this is my thought. I think everything you do when you start looks like shit. That looked like shit, this looks like shit. But I think it's the paint job that makes it look good. Mm-hmm. So we're going to do some more tests. I also know there's a brown color that I'm thinking of for the barrel, and I don't think we have it in paint, but I do have it in nail polish.
Oh, there's still a bunch more paints in the closet.
But I can use the nail polish, and then I can use matte top coat over it so that it's not shiny.
Also that. I broke down and got some tweezers because this is very fiddly.
Okay, so do you remember how he did it in the video?
Nope.
Glue. Where's your glue?
Oh.
Here.
Well, I'm just trying to lay them out for right now.
Oh, yeah, but dip the tips of your...
Oh, is that the deal? Oh, this.
Yeah. Now you can just poke. You should just be... All right, well, I think it works better with real glue.
Yeah.
Not
glue stick.
Not glue stick. And again, my brain went with Pritt stick, which is the British name for it. I have got to stop watching British TV.
Shows.
Because now I keep...
As we film this, it's the finale of Taskmaster, by the way.
Yay.
No spoilers. All right, so I laid out my pieces as
Tiles.
best as I could here.
Stone.
Now I'm going to go back over it with some glue stick to hold it down. I just wanted to kind of get a feel for like which of the rows it is. This is hardly precision work here. And if this was for a real project, it would be right in the scrap heap. But it's fine.
Well, this is kind of cool because I think they all work in their own way.
Yeah.
I think depending on what you're doing. I mean, mine is obviously more ruins.
Yeah.
It's definitely not the fireplace that I want to build. That's not, well, although it could work.
Well, that could be like after the fireplace went out of control or something.
I guess.
You know, make things with stories. All right, glue stick might not have been the answer here because it sent my pieces flying everywhere. But again, quick and dirty. This is what I get for quick and dirty. I found a box of craft crap, and we had a bunch of glue sticks for whatever dumb reason. So I'm bound and determined to use the stuff that's been sitting. So here we go. But that's one row down. I'm going to keep going. I got to work quick, but I'm just doing a smudge of glue stick as I go. And these 2 rows are done already. And I'll have more to say about that later. All right, so I just need to take some scissors and cut the excess there. But bit by bit, it doesn't look like when it's happening, but this purple glue stick will dry clear. And if you really splodge it on, you've got a bit of time to go row by row. And then I just used the scissors and extra pieces to kind of cut to length. It's by no means perfect, but that's not the point, as I've said repeatedly, and we'll keep saying, because this is something like we've been watching lots of videos. We're really interested in the final result we see that places like Nerd Forge do, but realistically, your first project again ain't gonna look like that. But you gotta, if you're gonna do it, do it. Like, get moving, try it. So that's what we're doing. We tried 3 different looks here, just from my point of view of it. I think this is still drying, but it's coming along. I'm deliberately leaving 2 sides undone, so we can see the before and after, like where I did the pencil lines and then after. And now, once this gets trimmed up, I can really kind of start painting now.
I'm back, and I have a friend. I made a table for my wizard. It's that barrel's way too tiny. This table's way too tall. I told you, perspective was where I was going to fail.
Okay.
But I made a table.
All right.
Now I have to make the table brown. That's easy.
All right, I will attempt to film and do this a little bit. I just drizzled paint on here with a popsicle stick. I can't two-hand or one-hand this, so...
Do you need me?
I'm
I'm right here. Hi.
You're working on stuff.
Okay, I can stop and film.
Okay. All right.
What are we filming?
I'm kind of bracing it with...
Yes, you did. What are we doing here?
I'm just putting down the base coat.
You're doing gray again.
Yep.
Interesting.
Well, that way it's consistent across the board.
Oh, well, mine's got a black base coat. You got all the little crevices filled in?
And I don't think this glue stick's 100% dry. Like, who cares? It's grout.
Well, it's also a test piece, so.
Yeah.
All good?
Yeah. All right, so that's the first coat. Jamie was scandalized that I was doing gray all around, but
Well,
I want it
because
consistent.
I thought that black in the cracks is what made the shadows and the definition, and you haven't done that at all, so I was confused.
Black costs extra.
What?
All right, whilst I wait for paint to dry, and whilst Jamie does her faux stain,
What do you think of that color?
seems legit.
Kind of neat, huh?
I'm going to attempt to dry brush white on this first attempt here. So these brushes are from the world's worst cheapo set. I think I got this from the Florida version of American Science at Surplus for like $5 a set.
Okay.
So these are really awful.
And old.
Yeah. But here we go. All right, dry brushing, doing it wrong.
What the hell did you just do?
Well, it was too thin, so I was like, here, let me add just a little extra paint and it went a blurf.
Where's the regular gray?
The regular gray. What are you talking about?
What did you dry brush with?
White.
Oh.
But actually, so far, I'm not actually mad at it. Because all the crevasses and stuff that Jamie was looking for, it's like it's definitely there now. But let me try a lighter doing on this side of it and see how that goes. Absolute worst case, I can go back over it again with my wash and then do that. All right, I may have gotten Bob Ross here.
Did you make a happy little tree?
No, I had a happy accident.
Happy little accident?
So I did my dark wash immediately over this. And it's actually taking care of business here. So now it really looks like weathered stone. So
Okay.
I'm not mad at that at all, really. May not be the professional method here, but whoever accused me of being professional.
Progress is being made. It's starting to look like something. But look at my table, dude. It's so cute. It's done.
All right.
Now I just have to make stuff to put on the table for the wizard. Because apparently I'm making a wizard thing now. I don't know what I'm doing.
All right, so my dry brushing
Ooh.
went nuts, but I think I already covered all this. But I really like how that turned out after further ado.
There's gonna be a thing with flames sticking out of it. See? Now it works.
Ta-da.
Now it's in proportion. I've made it a torch.
So I just put a little extra paint on this thick piece. Then this, I don't know how we're doing with this right now.
My mat's a mess.
Oh yeah, it's meant to be.
My fingers are a mess.
Yeah, also that. Yeah, this is still wet.
You know, it's not a mess. My table.
Can I cleverly peel this up?
You're gonna
Not really.
You're gonna end up flipping it, smudging it, flipping it. Why don't you just leave it? Or is it in your way?
So I don't really want to paint it to the mat, but
Yeah, but it'll come off the mat when it's dry. Before you ruin it.
yep. Yes, ruin my test wall.
Yes, don't ruin your test wall.
All right, I think I'm ready to render judgment on this. The downside of this is that the blue Waverly paint that was used as accent blocks got kind of obliterated. But it's fine because it's more of a uniform look anyway, I guess. The downside of doing the pencil lines like this is, as we saw in one of these videos we watched, and especially if we were using better foam, you actually want to round off the edges of these things so it looks more like worn stone and not basically foam that's been painted. Again, depending on your personal needs, I guess. I mean, you do whatever you want with it being art, I suppose. But so when I was doing the soldering gun, I made sure, even though it was melting everything as I went, that I really rounded things off. And so you can see there's a big difference one to the other. And then not so much with the rounding over here. But this is 3 different techniques, so that you would have your reasons for why you would do what you're doing. Up to and including using none of this and using the really good fancy foam. But we're not set up for that, so we're doing what we can with what we got. Meanwhile, Jamie broke her table.
I did. I broke 2 legs
she's
off.
Improving the.
I didn't like the color. It wasn't dark
color.
enough for a wizard. Wizard would want it darker. I still don't think this is going to be the color I'm looking
Also, I looked
for.
in our scrap Lego pile and found a flame for her barrel.
We got a flame. That's funny. I'm covered in brown paint.
Yep. So while I'm sitting here waiting for little paint to dry, I said a bunch of cons. I didn't say any pros about this. So the nice things I had to say about this is it's quick and dirty. So depending on, again, what you're trying to accomplish and whether or not you're actually using this crap foam, if you want to make a quick stone wall, you totally could. Despite that compressed, circly foam stuff, as far as the actual work side of this, I really like how it turned out. As far as it really does look craggy and crummy, in a way as was intended. Meanwhile,
Look at that. I mean, it looks like crap because it's not even or anything, but it wasn't cut to be even. What do you think of that?
Yeah, but as far as some kind of dystopian hellscape or something,
Yeah, ruins.
that looks like that fits right in, yeah. All right, Jamie's going in on this soldering gun routine here. She wants to melt styrofoam too. Meanwhile, I pulled out every paint we have.
And no, you didn't, because there's no pink there, so I know you didn't.
Yeah, there's more.
This feels like, you know that scene in Hamilton where they're writing each other letters?
Yeah.
Except I can't remember how it goes right now. Oh, that's cool. Oh, it's like butter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, these are wavy ass lines.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not good at this.
Well,
Although,
you kind of want them to be wavy ass lines, depending on what you're doing.
woo. Woo. No wonder you do this with ventilation.
Yep.
Oh, I'm doing that very poorly. I'm making them very wide. These bricks are gonna fall. There we go. Like that?
Yep.
Am I doing this right?
And again, that XPS foam or whatever that is much more made for this.
This was free.
Yep. Yeah, she got 5 slabs of this stuff from work.
Okay. So just want to round the edges of a couple of them.
Yep.
It's steaming. I mean, smoking.
Mm-hmm.
If this is okay,
Yep.
I'm okay. Oof.
It's mighty fragrant, that's for sure. But as you said, it's a well ventilated area.
Whew. Yeah, but if you can smell it, you're inhaling it. Somehow I don't think the word in my head is floopy. Forky mask is gonna help. Floop. I'm having so much trouble with my brain lately. All right, how's that?
It's a good start.
Okay,
And then when you glob on the paint, it's going to really
show.
smooth it out. All right, so this is basically dry. The mat's kind of wet. The paint gets really shiny in spots, so it makes you think it's still wet, but it isn't. So one of the things that can be a problem with this thin stuff is that it'll warp. But this is fine for like learning what you're doing, but if this is for an actual structure, it would need to be fortified.
Right, he showed us how to do that. How to get it to unwarp.
Yeah, well, you guys didn't see that video. You're here now watching us.
Right, so you flip it over, you cover it in Mod Podge or PVA glue, and you leave it for at least 24 hours, and then that'll correct the bend.
Another thing too would be to mount it on better board. But again, this is just to get some different looks here. So Jamie did the soldering gun routine, and now she's getting ready to go in with some paint. There are 2 different approaches here.
So many different approaches.
I did just straight up boring brown for the bricks. Meanwhile,
I did a bunch of different colors with acrylic paint markers. And then I did a wash of, what is this, elephant gray? With a ton of water over the whole thing. And this, to me, this looks like it could really be like, that's it.
yep.
So I don't know if I painted that good or if I etched my stones that good. That actually looks like something you would see in everything I do is ruins though. We have a problem over here. Why is everything I do ruins?
That's just what this stuff lends itself to. Is for
I mean, your floor looks like that looks like a wood floor right now that looks like a legit floor. I don't know if you were going for stone, but it looks like wood.
Yeah, it's supposed to just be another stone wall, but there's layers of stuff to do yet. So
that looks like something you could walk on. We could put my table on it.
All right, getting close to the end of the run here. Instead of doing like individual brick colors on this one or like accent bricks, I've already made enough carnage. So I just went right in with the white. Now the problem is that this gray wasn't completely dry. So some of the white pooled, but I have this crummy gray wash that I'm putting over this other one right now that's pooling up at the bottom. And the warping on this is going to be unbelievable when this is done, by the way. So I've got it propped up on the other piece of brick right now. I'm going to do this stuff over this, and that's going to take care of that white spot that's really glaring. But just to kind of eyeball it here on the camera, you can see it's coming along. It's just that big white spot right in the middle is kind of detracting. But yeah, I mean, I could definitely see, just considering we're not using the ideal version of it, I definitely see the allure of foam. And again, I know that with that fancier foam, some pretty amazing stuff can get built. But as a first venture, I would say we're both pretty pleased with like getting our feet wet and trying it out. And literally our hands dirty. All right, so I'm trying to use up the world's lousiest paintbrushes. So the dry brush went on a little thick for my liking, so I immediately came in with the slop wash to kind of dull it down. And I think I might have salvaged it. Again, salvaged it. This is just silly testing. It's not for anything. But the slop wash is drying right now as it's filling in the... You can see that big white area. This is a glare from the outdoors or whatever, so let me turn this. That big white area is gone. That was really annoying. So I'll give this one more swipe of white and then maybe some slop wash again. And then that should be the end of that. Yes?
I don't think slop wash is the correct term. However, I fixed my bricks.
Should just use slop wash. So
it's where he rinsed his brush.
Well, it's deliberately, it's water and the black.
Oh. Okay.
In fact, I don't think it's the black, I think it's the gray.
Yeah,
I think it's the
your elephant gray.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just used that. I didn't use any paint. I just put that over it.
Yep.
And that salvaged it. You can still see the colors, but they're super muted.
Yeah. Yeah, which is cool. I mean, it just looks like dirty bricks now.
Yeah, for the size of these bricks, that soldering iron's too big.
Yeah.
So maybe they sell thinner tips?
I'll look and see, but...
We could figure out how to make a foam cutter with a piece of... We can start with your cheese grater. And,
yeah, I wondered if my cheese slicer was going to be involved.
Cheese slicer and a lighter.
Yeah, maybe.
Heat up the wire.
Yeah, it could be a thing. Yep. Yeah, then I want to get a longer box cutter. Like those retractable ones.
Yeah, this is not cutting it.
Yeah, literally.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
But look at my table. I made a table.
Yep.
And a candle.
Mm-hmm.
Not on purpose.
So I'm out of time for the stuff that I wanted to do today with all this, but this is a good start. I'll come back with the final thoughts of this whole stuff, but there will definitely be another video coming, so I'll say right now, like and subscribe if you want to see more of this sort of shenanigans here, and see what kind of stuff we get mixed up in addition to all the other things we do on this channel. Also want to say at this moment, thanks for getting us to 500 subscribers, you guys. We do appreciate it. Our eyes kind of bugged out. I was like, wait, 500?
Did you, I didn't hear the start of this video. Did you welcome them to the hobby of the month?
No. No, I did get the backstory about we were watching all that Nerd Forge and everything, so... And finally got off the couch and tried it.
Yeah, we appreciate you watching. We appreciate you subscribing. I have nails I have to finish this weekend, so I'll get around to that.
All right, time to wrap up the video for today. Here's Jamie's colored rocks up close. They kind of cracked here. It could be a good thing. Not sure what happened there other than the crushing heat out here. Here's her smoking ruins. Very good. One last look at my first brick attempt. And my second one. Now these are definite learning pieces. And kind of learning things to and not to do. The least of which being don't use this kind of foam. And then finally, here's this piece of wall here, and I really like how this turned out. It's the kind of thing when you're making it, it's like, God, this is so stupid, but it actually is kind of viable, really. And there's things I could have done. I could have rounded the edges of the inserts. I could have done all kinds of things, and we will at some point, just not with this. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Jamie calls it the hobby of the month. That might not be wrong. Again, we have flaming ADHD, so I can't stress that enough. I've been doing music stuff. I just haven't posted anything because I've been kind of really hardcore working on guitar practice. So that's not the kind of thing I really want to put on YouTube as such. Because believe it or not, not everything has to be content. But you know, we got to keep the channel alive here, and we like to do some interesting, varied things on here. So if that's your jam, stick around. And I will have music coming up soon, so it's not like it's never going to happen. And as Jamie said, she's going to have nail stuff coming soon as well. But once more, thanks for watching. Thanks for getting us to 500 subscribers, and we'll catch you in the next video.